I absolutely find timeless the writing of Charles Dickens from 165 years ago, in which he captures the conditions that led to the French Revolution. And he writes this. This is my favorite passage from A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. It's hard to believe that Dickens published that 165 years ago, because when I read it, I said, that's about this era in which we find ourselves now. What is so inspiring to me and hope building for me is that I think about the cycles of the Tale of Two Cities, and we are in this season now where we're living the tale of two nations in one, and how do we navigate that is something that is a great wonder and mystery for us. It remains to be seen, but what I believe, we can't do that solely on our own. Today is the first day of Hanukkah, and I had the absolute joy of having breakfast today with a very dear friend of mine. We met many years ago when I was attending Union Theological Seminary, and she was attending the seminary across the street, Jewish Theological Seminary. And she's a rabbi, her husband is a rabbi. It was just a joy to bring in Hanukkah and kind of close out Christmas and enter into this season anticipating the new year. We hadn't seen each other in 15 years. And of course, we said, oh, you look the same. Well, a little gray here and there, but just a joy. I really appreciate Hanukkah because the word means dedication. It's the time of purification and rededication of the temple after it had been occupied by the Greek community. And in that way, it was not held as sacred by the Greeks who had overtaken the temple. And that temple on the mound has been occupied and has been the site of so many different religions over the centuries. So I'm excited also because as I think about moving into this new year, what does it mean? But again, we bring the meaning, we make the meaning. It doesn't have some external meaning. And so when I think about the new year and asking myself, what meaning do I choose to make of what 2024 has brought? And what meanings will I make of what 2025 might bring? It's the best of times, it's the worst of times. I am so inspired by the words by planetary scientist and astronomer Carl Sagan, who said, the nitrogen in our DNA, the calcium in our teeth, the iron in our blood, were made in the interiors of collapsing stars. Sagan says, we are made of star stuff. And I like that a scientist brings that approach, and a philosopher and poet, Rumi, some hundreds of years ago, said, the universe and the light of the stars come through me. When I think of what Rumi said and what Sagan said, I ask, so what meaning do I choose to make of these best of times and these worst of times, and what my own participation might be in these times? Many years ago, when I was serving as a pastor in a congregation in Connecticut, I met with the confirmation class. These were 13 and 14-year-old young people, and I asked them the question, who or what is God? Really wanting them to explore the meaning they were making of that for themselves. And one 13-year-old boy responded, God is every cell of the universe. I love the profound response, the profundity. I like that word. I love his response. And you know, we say often out of the mouths of babes may come some great wisdom. And so when I think of myself and each one of us as part of the system of cells that make up the universe, and as Sagan said, we are star stuff. And as Rumi said, the universe and the light of the stars come through me. But what do I choose to make of that in these times that speak to wisdom and foolishness, these times that speak to hope and despair, these times where it seems we have everything before us and nothing? But if we understand the activity of a cell, each of us is cell, and within each cell, there are all the living things needed to develop succeeding generations. There's the capacity of cells to replicate themselves. But the real mystery of cell, and I think, you know, atoms and molecules, and it's all fascinating to me. But one of the mysteries is not just the capacity for cells to metabolize themselves, but the capacity for cells to fuse with other cells, and in the process, make something even bigger, something even greater. And so in this season of Christmas, this season of Hanukkah, this season in which we close out one year and open ourselves to a new year, if we understand ourselves as part of the cells of God, part of the cells of that universal mystery that is greater than anything we can imagine, but to see ourselves as part of the fusion, the mystery of the fusion, and what might we co-create with one another so that the mystery that emerges is something greater than what we might be able to imagine, given some of the foolishness that we see in these times. And so my prayer is that we might be able to fuse, those of us who believe in the wonder and awe of the universe, those of us who believe that there is something in the cosmos that is not centered on individual human beings or even on groups of human beings, but is centered in the wonder and the awe of that which creates us and sustains us, that which is the mystery, of which we wonderfully are a part. But as we fuse together with more people who believe in the wonder of that mystery and who believe in a cosmos that is not human-centered, I think we can create some great things and meanings beyond the narrowness, that foolishness, the narrowness of the worst of times might conjure in our minds, because we really do have everything before us. Amen.